The sky over Taipei at 4 in the morning was still wrapped in mist. Tiny droplets, soft and milky, covered the shiny black asphalt. At the corner of Nanfanggo fish market, trucks loaded with ice and fresh catch thundered in, steam rolling off their beds like smoke from a fire. People hurried through the narrow lanes, voices blending in a mix of Taiwanese and Mandarin. Hands moved fast, pulling nets, hauling fish, weighing, jotting down numbers. But in the middle of all that chaos, one crowd stood still. They gathered around a wooden table more than 4 meters long. On it lay a massive fish, motionless. Silver-gray skin, glimmering under the neon lights. Its body was wide as a plank, its head round, its mouth tiny, and its eyes large and dark. Almost human, an old fisherman whispered, "It's a sunfish, mola, sunfish." Standing in the center of the crowd was Lao Chen, the man with the big knife. Everyone in Nanfanggo knew him. He'd been doing this for more than 30 years, ever since Taiwanese fishermen first started bringing these strange creatures. Back from the deep Pacific, every time a boat docked with one of them on board, the whole market would come alive, buzzing like a festival, not because the sunfish was rare, but because it was mysterious, strange enough to make people both afraid and fascinated. They respected it like something left over from prehistoric times. The sunfish was unlike any other creature of the sea. Its body looked as if it had been pressed flat by 2 giant hands, and where a tail fin should have been, there was only a smooth strip of skin, a living paradox. Half fish, half licken. Everything about the sunfish was a paradox. Its head took up more than half its body, and its dorsal fin stood tall, sharp, like the blade of a sword. It swam slowly, almost clumsily, yet somehow it could roam across the entire ocean, from the tropics all the way to the poles. Whenever the light touched its skin, it shimmered silver with a faint blue tint, like a metal plate polished by the waves. Lao Chen held his knife, his hand trembling slightly, not from fear, but from respect. He always said dissecting a sunfish wasn't like cutting a tuna or a shark. You have to understand it, he would say. If you don't understand, the knife will lose its way, and the meat will spoil. Every cut was an anatomy lesson, shaped by decades of observation, mistakes, and patience. This sunfish weighed over 700 kilos, so large that 3 grown men couldn't even stand around it. The assistant turned on the faucet, and cold water streamed across its skin, washing away a thin film of slime, revealing faint veins of flesh beneath the thick layer. Lao Chen's knife gleamed like a mirror, broad-bladed, the handle wrapped in polished buffalo leather. He didn't rush. He ran his hand along the fish's body, searching for the right place to begin. Then he took a deep breath. The first cut clean, deliberate, ran from the gills to the belly, and for a moment, the whole market seemed to stop breathing. The sound of steel slicing through that thick skin, was heavy and wet, like tearing through soaked leather. The flesh beneath wasn't bright red like tuna, nor white-pink like mackerel. It was pearly, translucent, almost like jelly. People said its texture was half cartilage, half gelatin, soft yet firm, delicate yet rich. Every part of a sunfish could be eaten, but only if you knew how to tell one part from another: the skin, the fat, the meat, the intestines, even the bladder and cartilage. Each had its own value in Taiwan. Nothing from a sunfish goes to waste. Each piece becomes a dish, and each dish carries a story, a fragment of tradition passed down through generations. Old Chen sliced off the front dorsal fin and lifted it high, a wet, shimmering strip nearly 2 meters long. This part, he said, is usually stewed in soup, chewy and full of flavor. Next came the neck skin, thick, elastic, and prized in Taipei's high-end restaurants. Chefs pay more for this than for bluefin tuna. The skin is cut into slabs, soaked in salt water, then sliced paper thin and served raw like sashimi. When you chew it, it's crisp and cool, slightly fatty, the light salt of the sea spreading through your mouth. All around, customers and cameramen crowded closer, trying to capture the moment. For many of the younger onlookers, it was the first time they'd ever seen a real sunfish. They'd only seen photos online, those massive, wheel-shaped creatures drifting on the surface, soaking in the sunlight, the ocean sun. But here, in the cold mist of the early morning fish market, the animal returned to its true form, huge, silent, and mesmerizing. The knives rang out again. Old Chen began working on the head, the hardest part. The skull of a sunfish is a labyrinth, layer after layer of cartilage and hollow space. He pointed at one precise cut. "This," he said softly, "is the most precious part." Inside the head are 6 different kinds of tissue, from jelly soft to tendon tough. The best way to enjoy it is in soup, cooked gently with ginger and rice wine. Moments later, someone from behind brought out a pot of boiling water. A middle-aged woman dropped in a few fresh slices, along with ginger, scallions, and sea salt. Steam rose like fog, and a warm aroma drifted through the market. For Taiwanese people, eating sunfish isn't just about taste, It's about culture. It's about respect for the ocean and the life it gives, because this fish, for all its size, is strangely fragile. It has no tail fin. It swims slowly, easily wounded by nets. Yet it has survived for millions of years. To many, it's a symbol of endurance and quiet strength, like the Taiwanese themselves, facing storms and open seas. As the body came apart, the sunfish revealed smooth, shining fibers of muscle. The belly soft and fatty they call meat flour. It's perfect for soup, especially in the harbor restaurants. The cartilage from its back is chopped into small cubes, mixed with herbs and lemon to make a bright, ocean fresh salad. Each part, every texture tells its own story of the sea. It's a dish that tourists always ask for when they visit Nanfanggo. Meanwhile, the internal organs, considered the very essence of the sunfish, are carefully cleaned, washed again and again, then boiled gently in rice wine to chase away the ocean's smell. No one in the market speaks loudly. Everyone watches in silence, as if witnessing a ritual. Each motion of the knife, each stream of water washing over the flesh, it all feels like a dance. Old Chen occasionally bows slightly to the fish, a habit, he says, to thank it for giving him food. For the people of Taiwan, that gesture isn't superstition, it's sincerity. It's gratitude. Beside him, his young apprentice, Lin, wiped down each clean slice of meat. Lin was only 21, born into a family of fishermen, yet he had never touched a real sunfish before. He stared at the crystal-clear flesh, eyes wide with wonder. Its body stays soft, like water itself. It doesn't crumble or dry. It's here to remind us that the sea isn't just blood and fins. It's also gentleness and resilience. By then, the woman cooking the soup had started plating the dishes. White ceramic bowls lined the table, filled with clear, shimmering broth. Inside, the pieces of sunfish meat floated like clouds, trembling in the steam. The scent of ginger, scallions, and rice wine filled the air, clean, warm, and strangely sweet. Not fishy, not heavy. Just poor, buyers and sellers all paused their work. Each took a small bowl, tasted it, and nodded. An old shrimp vendor nearby began to speak. He said that long ago, people were too afraid to eat sunfish. They thought it was a sea monster misshapen, strange, neither red nor white. But during the hard years, when the boats came back with their first sunfish and people were hungry, they tried it. And they found that its meat was sweeter, softer, stranger than any other fish they'd ever known. From that moment on, the sunfish was no longer a monster. It became a gift from the sea. Some people believe that eating sunfish brings good luck because this creature is gentle, calm, and never attacks. It simply drifts through the ocean as if smiling up at the sun. Though enormous, the sunfish survives on the smallest of creatures, jellyfish, algae, and tiny crustaceans. It moves slowly, lazily. Sometimes floating to the surface to bask in the light. That's why people call it sunfish. Back at the market, traders begin buying every pot. The thick, rubbery skin is sent to Taipei's restaurants, where it becomes cold sashimi. The belly meat, soft and rich, is loved by locals, perfect for soup or stir-fry. The offal, especially the liver, is considered a delicacy, a dish only the most skilled chefs dare to prepare. Sunfish liver, stewed in wine, is a coastal specialty, fatty, yet never greasy. When eaten, it leaves a salty sweetness that lingers deep in the throat. Old Chen selected a few portions to send to his daughter's small restaurant down the next street. It had only 6 tables, but it was always full. People came for 3 things: mixed skin, steamel, kartile, and fish belly soup. His daughter, May, trained in culinary arts, said that the sunfish is a fish with a soul because each part tells a different story. The skin, crispy and cool. The cartilage, soft and tender. The belly, warm and rich. Out on Taiwan's eastern coast, white-capped waves crash against the hulls of steel ships. Hundreds of high-pressure lamps blaze across the decks, painting a shining path over the dark water. That night, like so many nights during squid fishing season, the sea didn't sleep, and the long, iron boats kept cutting silently through the waves, chasing light, chasing life, operating in perfect rhythm with an industry that has become almost fully automated for decades. Taiwanese fishermen have been known for their diligence and for their ingenuity. To them, the fishing industry isn't just a livelihood. It's a symbol of how a small island nation uses science and technology to reach farther into the sea. If you love uncovering shocking truths from the deep, like, subscribe, and join the Real Shock community, where every story dives deeper and every wave hides another mystery. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next reel.